For joining me today on the Batcave Beats. I'm joined by a special guest today out of North Carolina. He goes by the name of Ryan James. You might know him as a NASCAR driver or his previous artist name, Wondr, or you might have found him through his Everyday elevations. But today, he's going to be getting started by just sharing a little bit about how he first started making music.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Saw a little intro right there. Appreciate that. But yeah, music. I got started when I was pretty young. I think I was like second grade when I got my first guitar. My dad was into playing guitar when we were younger, and he'd always play for us. And then we just obviously wanted to catch on and do the same thing. So started there. I mean, ever since I started playing guitar, I fell in love with drums, piano, all that stuff, and just started listening to tons of artists, different types of music, and found myself here. So it's been quite a while, quite a journey.
That's awesome. When did you start realizing that you kind of wanted to start putting out your own stuff and making more of a push to like create your own sound?
Shoot, I was probably in college. College was where I was trying to figure out, exactly what I wanted to do. I was really heavy leaning into wanting to be an artist and make music for a living. There's always that like side of you that's like plan B. Like, what if I don't want to do this? Maybe I'm like more interested in doing business side of it. My brother and my dad were always on the business side of things, so I was kind of just keeping that option open. And then towards the end of college, like my junior senior year, I was like, fuck it, I just want to do music. Can I cuss? I didn't
Yeah,
ask.
yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, you can totally cuss. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You can now. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you can totally cuss.
All right. Yeah. Basically, that's when I kind of decided to start doing it full time and really pursue it as a career. And I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. Now, something people might not know about you if they listen to your music is that you were actually pretty into driving cars kind of fast for a while here.
Yeah. So,
How did that all come to be?
I wasn't like racing in NASCAR or anything. I know you mentioned that at the beginning. I appreciate it. I wish I was. A lot of people think I was. Pretty much every podcast I go on, they think I was a driver. You're not the only one. But I grew up racing go karts and just around the sport of NASCAR, going to a lot of races and just becoming friends with people that raced and just always been around the sport. And then I started getting involved in it more so with the music, playing shows at some of the NASCAR races in my hometown in Raleigh. We've done stuff with the NASCAR track there, and we've done stuff with the Cars tour. And yeah, just always been obsessed with racing, and it's been cool to find a way to tie the music into that whole lane, no pun intended. But it's always just kind of been a part of my life. I love driving. I don't know what it is. I love cars. I love going fast, and yeah, I wish I was driving NASCAR. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Don't close the door yet.
I'm never closing that door.
It's something that like I never understood growing up, and then moved down to North Carolina for a little bit,
Mm,
and like didn't really get like heavily involved in the scene or anything, but like got to go experience it in person. And I was like, oh, I understand the draw, because like
yeah,
just on TV, you're like, oh, they just go in. Like I'm not gonna sit down for hours and hours watching them go in circles, but then you see it and you're like, I understand now.
it's different being at a race. It'll change your mind.
Yeah, it changes your mind instantly. If you haven't been, you have to go to one.
Yeah, it's the best way to watch it. I get it. On TV, it's just like background noise, really.
Yeah. So before developing into your artist name Ryan James, you
Hmm.
went by a previous name Wondr. What
Yeah.
was kind of the and that's actually how I found you was I think I was down in North Carolina and F with you I found that song under
Crazy.
your Wondr name. And then at one point my release radar suggested this Ryan James guy and I was like, "Wait, why does this sound so much like Wondr?" And then I did some digging eventually.
I'm glad you put two and two together.
Yeah, it took me a little bit, but eventually I figured it out.
Yeah, so Wonder actually started at the beginning when I was in college. And it was actually originally a duo. It was me and a good friend of mine. We were just both really into rap, and we had a show coming up, and I had a show coming up, and I needed someone to come do background vocals and like dubs and like basically just catch my breath because it was just too much. And we ended up just having a great show and then making music together for like 2 years, and we ended up going under the name Wonder. It was nothing too crazy, not like a wild story. It was like a text back and forth trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and we came up with that name. And I kept it for years because I'd already done so much under it originally. I was just like, and I look back at this now, I'm like, I kind of regret it, but I was like, I'm just gonna stick with it. I don't want to deal with all the switching over and whatnot. Back when it would probably been a ton easier to do because like everything was kind of new with distribution of music and like Spotify, like getting in contact with these people was a little bit easier than it is now. And there's like a million artists and everything is robots or bots or AI now that's talking to you. So, but I ended up switching back to Ryan James last year. So I did that just because I love my name. I've always kind of been teetering on the name of Wondr just because it was like the duo originally, and it kind of felt like it was always that, even once we split up. So it just was like a little bit something I just needed to do it. And I'm so far into this, I just said, fuck it. I'm like, and it really didn't affect much. Like all the people that listen to my music still listen to my music. Like I haven't really had too much trouble. The Wondr thing is kind of like a novelty now, a little throwback. So it works
Yeah, if
out.
you know about the Wondr, you're like an OG. You kind of
Exactly.
like you're into that.
Exactly.
Was that like a fear going into it though? Because I feel like a lot of artists get scared to even like change their sound, much less like their name, just because of like how the algorithm might do stuff or what could potentially happen.
Yeah, dude, the amount of time I spent thinking about this, like it was probably a year I thought about doing it. And I just was like always teetering back and forth, like, no, I'm not gonna do it. No, I'm not gonna do it. And yeah, that fear is basically just having to do all that stuff over again, worrying about like losing fans or whatever it is. And I just said, fuck it, man. I just went for it. And it worked out really well for me. But at the same time, there's still platforms I'm dealing with I'm having trouble transitioning music. Like Apple's a really difficult one, but Spotify, like they were easy. Like everything transferred within like a week. And that's like one of the main platforms, them and Apple. So I mean it kind of worked out well in that sense. But the hard thing was Instagram too. Like I couldn't get my
Yeah.
name changed on Instagram for like months. So that was a little bit frustrating. Stuff I
Yeah.
didn't plan for, like I was like, you know what, I got this. And then the next day I'm like, oh man, maybe I should have been more methodical about this.
The stuff that you would think would be like the easiest isn't always like you would think that like Spotify and Apple would be the hard thing. You're like people change their name on social media every day. This should be an easy
Yeah.
transition.
It was the hardest. It was literally the hardest thing to do. Oh my gosh. It's
But
whatever.
you
We
made
figured
it.
it out.
And even though you might have not gone in with like I'm gonna change my sound with this name, I feel like your recent stuff definitely has this like upbeat vibration to it. What
Yeah.
kind of drew you to kind of switching up your sound over the last year or so?
Yeah, I feel like that too. Like you said, just kind of the name change did impact the music in that sense. I don't know. I've just been listening to more stuff. I've been maturing. Getting wiser. There's things you just learn over years. Like I'm definitely not the kid I was when I first started Wondr, and that's a whole different time. But I don't know, man. I just like trying new things. I feel like I've always kind of mixed things up, but more so recently I've been kind of pulling in a little bit more of the countryside of me and messing around there. And I feel like since I'm still independent and I still haven't like truly broken as an artist, I have a lot of freedom to kind of just test and throw whatever sticks at the wall. So that's kind of what it is right now. It's like, I'm just gonna try anything, like anything and everything at this point. Giving
Yeah.
it
Kind of going off of trying everything, you have this other piece of your music brand kind of that I think is really cool that we definitely need to talk about. This everyday elevations. I
yeah.
think we need to kind of talk about how this got started and
Yeah. So man, I've been reading like quote unquote self-help books, stuff that's on spirituality, like mental growth, mental health, like all that stuff for man, 7 or 8 years. And like I didn't read books at all from, I swear to God, like middle school to college. I just like hated reading. And all of a sudden I just got into it once I graduated. Like once I was done with school, I was like, all right, I'm ready to
you're
read
like,
a
oh, now
book.
I'll read the books. I'll read the text. Give me the textbooks. I'll read it.
Yeah. Dude, I textbooks, man, I couldn't do them, but I
Yeah.
like stuff that like I don't know, it challenged me to think differently and then makes me look at things differently and then it ends up impacting my work and my growth. And I found this lady who's creating these same thing pretty much that I'm doing. They're called activations, and I really like what she was doing. And I thought it was something that was super helpful for me was basically having an audio that has music behind it that I can listen to anywhere, anytime, and it just has like affirmations, manifestations, and like so I can be just working on whatever on my desk and be kind of at the same time growing mentally and learning at the same time without having to like sit down and meditate and block out too much time on my day. And I reached out to her originally to help her out, but they weren't looking for anybody on my side. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do it myself. I was already kind of trying to make them. I figure, why not just kind of put this side of me out, and it'd be kind of fun because it helps me. Like, regardless if anybody listens to them, I like listening to them. I listen to them all day, pretty much every day. And so it was really just kind of for me to be able to grow and work and do all these things at the same time. And now it's starting to reach out to different people, and I'm starting to make more content for it and push it a little bit more. And it's been really cool just having that be another, of who I am as an artist. Cause I feel like that's a part of me I never really shared with anybody or never talked about.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really awesome thing. Even like for people that I don't necessarily send music to, I've caught myself being like, "Hey, you need to check these out." Anybody that's kind of more into like reflection throughout the day or like meditation, even though they're not necessarily like meditations, but like I think everyone that's done meditation like knows that it's helpful and it's good. But
Yeah,
finding that time of the day where it's like, all right, I'm gonna like block out this chunk of time to meditate isn't always, it's kind of hard to do, and then like being in the right mental space. Whereas these are like really easy to just like you just notice in your day that you need a switch to go on, and you can just throw one of these on and kind of adjust the path that your day is going on, which I think is really cool.
exactly. Yeah. The amount of times where I've had like been having a bad day, and I'll just throw on a playlist of just vibey or calm versions of them, and it immediately changed, my whole mindset and vibe. Even if I'm not completely listening, like I'm picking up stuff, and it's just like slowly making me just mind shift. And it's just been super helpful in that aspect. And like you said, yeah, not having time in the day, that's like, you can plan it. You can be like, all right, I'm set 20 minutes, but then something can pop up and then you miss it just because of that. Well, good thing you have these. You can just be in the car and on the way to work or the grocery store or whatever. So,
Yeah, and that piece of like setting up time and then thinking about everything else you have to do during that time just like
yeah,
gets in the way too. So it's like,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah, and you kind of like I guess I've noticed some of your the higher upbeat um elevations of kind of like you kind of hear some of those in your music now too, and some of your music's more about like things in your life and personal stuff. Was that something that was like initially difficult to do to kind of share more of your personal side as an artist?
You know what? I don't think it really was, just because I always had like a hard time talking about my problems with people when I was younger, or even, well, I gotten a lot better about it now. But when I was younger, I had a hard time like physically talking to people and explaining my problems. And a lot of times my outlet was music. And that was really about one way I could just kind of say things and not feel like worried about saying them. So it's kind of nice to have those opportunities to even do that now, to write about, my relationship that I'm currently in and things that we went through in the past. And if it's cool to be able to like relive those memories, but like see them from a different light at the same time, and kind of like listen to a song and be like, just see the growth since those periods of time and what I'm writing about, especially with the most recent song, because the most recent song is about, my whole long distance relationship I did. I like it because I can like review and reflect on my experience, and I can share that with people, who may be going through it right now, and they may need that right now. And I fortunately had that experience, and I could tell them how it went and how there's different ways to go about it or help them through it, even if I can't talk to them in person.
Yeah, no, the new one I like a lot. Said and done.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Kind of going off of that, I feel like something that you do really well, at least from seeing it from afar, that is hard as I think anybody that creates content is you've found ways to incorporate your relationship into the things that you're doing so that you're not taking, anytime you're an artist or creator, you have to like make time for like what you do so that you're not taken away from that, but also obviously like relationships are obviously important. And I think Nick D is someone who also does this really well. He sets aside time for music and like very structured and organized. What kind of drew you down that path, and how did you go about like building that section of your life so that it is more like you can prioritize the important things that are important to you?
Yeah, I think that was always a big thing for me, and that's kind of a big thing in the song "Said and Done." It's just like committing to the relationship and not feeling like you have to be somewhere just to pursue your business or your dreams or your goals. Growing up, and I think still nowadays, people are like, you can't be in a relationship and do music at the same time. There's always that stigma around it, and having like a girlfriend can affect your fan base and like all this kind of just nuanced bullshit. And I took that big leap and I was like, screw this. I'm gonna like commit to, my relationship being a part of what my music is, and letting people see what my relationship is like, I think is important. I think a lot of my fans are impacted by my relationship because maybe we set an example, or we show them that they can find something or somebody that is worth their time and their energy and living for, and not feel like they have to focus only on a career goal and that be the main focus until they can try and find love. Like, you can do both at the same time. And I'm not saying it's easy.
Right.
It's definitely not easy. It's definitely hard blocking times for each other, and making sure we're not getting heavy in one thing and less in the other. But at the same time, she's also like, she gets involved in my videos, like she helps out, and that makes it kind of fun too, because we can do stuff together. And I'm not always doing music just me, like she'll get involved. And then she just loves the music so much too. That's another big thing, like, thank God.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. If
I feel
you
like if
like
she
the
wasn't
music,
into it,
that'd be in trouble.
yeah, yeah, I don't know if we'd still be together if she didn't like the music. But
You're testing
I'm
stuff
just
out in the
fortunate.
car. She's like, "Can we turn this off? I don't want to hear it."
Yes, exactly. If that happened, that'd be tough.
That'd be tough. That'd be tough to swallow every day.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I got lucky, man. I really did, and so that's honestly been a crazy experience. But at the same time, just like, you don't have to just be so like, I don't have a girlfriend and hide her from everything. Like a lot of artists do. And I don't know, they could be doing it for a good reason, but sometimes it can be for just, I don't want people to know I'm not single or something like that. And I feel like that's just a terrible way to go about doing things.
Yeah, and I think it can be hard to. I think sometimes you can use relationships or just things in general in life as like excuses to not prioritize
Hmm.
stuff that you're avoiding, right? Like if there's parts of the aspect of your goals, whether it's music or whatever it is, it's easy to push that off on, oh, I can't because I have to do this, even though you don't really have to. And setting up the structure that you have is an important piece of that and holding yourself accountable.
Oh yeah, especially like them noticing and like seeing that it's a business. It's not just like you're sitting there in your room fucking around making
Scrolling,
music. Like,
scrolling.
that's the hardest thing, is like, if they don't understand what you're doing, that makes it really difficult. And that's probably going to happen if they're not in the same industry as you, until they see it and they understand it. That's such a big leap, but
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah, eventually it comes in.
Exactly.
Something else I want to talk about. You recently had the opportunity to help after a natural disaster that happened in North Carolina with
Mhm.
the hurricane that went through Asheville recently. Tell a little bit
Yeah.
about kind of that experience and what that was like.
Yeah. So one of my friends out here who I work with a lot, his name is Matt Hubble. He's a videographer. He's an artist. He's like a company owner. Like, this kid just does everything. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're familiar, but he works for a guy out here who just out of the blue just started this nonprofit that ships a ton of supplies out to different areas that are going through natural disasters where they can't, have access or get any access to those things. He has a whole like freight company and all this stuff, and he has the ability to do that. And so Matt reached out to me, and he's like, "Hey, if you guys want to come through and come help," and they're posting a ton. And so Evan and I just ran to the grocery store and picked up as much as we could and went over there and then helped them box. They do like a lot of just come, drop off, they box it all up, throw it on freight, and then the freight takes it there. And you can either help out, stay there, and help them all box. It's all just people that are working for free, people that are just willing to come and help out. That was a really cool opportunity to be able to do a little bit more. It's nice to kind of get out in the community and kind of get more involved sometimes, especially when something like that happens. One of Evan's sister-in-law, her sister was like directly impacted by it. They live out in Asheville, and I have a bunch of friends that live in Asheville, and it's so close to home for us. So being able to do something is always nice. Get out. I like to be like, get a little bit of manual labor into every once in a while, because I'm always just sitting behind a desk. I need to
Yeah.
pick up a box every once in a while.
Yeah, that's right. Heavy man labor over here.
Exactly, man. Mix it up, put it down.
Yeah, pick it up, put it down. You're like, yeah, no gym today. I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, obviously, I'm not living out there anymore, but that was the first natural disaster where it was like I spent a lot of time out in Nashville when I lived down in North Carolina, and just like seeing places that you like actually know the areas and like have
Yeah,
been to like devastated like that. Obviously not as impacted as people that were there, but it was weird to see on TV and everything.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's so strange, especially when it's that close to home. Like that stuff.
Yeah,
It's
and it's just
wild,
like it's
man.
so far from
They're
the
so
ocean that you
rare.
just never would have thought like, oh,
Mm.
Asheville's
And
over
a
there.
hurricane, yeah, that's just
Yeah,
one thing you never would have thought too.
yeah.
Usually it's
I
the
was like,
beach.
what?
It's wild, dude.
Yeah,
Earth's doing some crazy stuff right now.
yeah, yeah. It's like warm up in Minnesota right now. We're at like 50 degrees this winter right now.
Dang,
No
man.
snow. It's a weird year. Yeah.
It's snowing down here. It snowed at the beach. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I know. I saw that. I was like, how does that can happen? That's the thing.
Dude, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's a weird year. It's a weird year all
Dude,
around.
it is.
So in this season of a weird year, what's kind of your plans as an artist, entrepreneur for 2025?
Yeah, put out as much music as possible. Obviously the main goal is to always to get a song that break and push you a little bit further down the line. I think that's big for me. I actually have some of my main goals even written down, but a big one is just kind of finding a niche and a concept that works for content for me. I think that's like a big thing a lot of artists look at is, you know, how can they push their music? What's a good way to do it? And I'm just invested, got this camera, so content is just like a huge part of what I'm doing. And then obviously these elevations that I'm starting, gonna try and push those as much as I can. Hopefully, I like to get on the road and start playing some shows. I haven't played a show in, probably over a year now, and that would be really fun. I love to go on a tour. I've never been on a tour either. I've just
Oh
played
yeah.
shows here and there, pop up stuff. So those are kind of my main goals. We're working hard right now to try and hit some of them. I actually just uploaded the elevation for this Friday, and then got some studio sessions set out for this weekend to get some more music done, and just constantly pushing, man. That's really what it is.
Yeah, it's hard. North Carolina obviously has some artists. It's not like the biggest hub. There's like Nella and Moonlander and like some people like, around that level. Obviously the baby, but a little different sound there. But like fine like I think a lot of people don't realize how hard it is to like set up a tour and like
Oh yeah,
actually like put that into place. It takes a lot of like sometimes it just takes knowing people, sometimes it takes a whole lot of pieces to like put all that together. So
yeah. That takes up a lot of time too. So all that time that could be spent, making music or content or whatever, you're putting a lot of it into that and the practice and all that. So it could be a lot. So actually, speaking of practice, I've been trying to work on my voice. I'm trying to not be an artist that can only play music with auto tune. I would like to be an artist that can play music and sing and just acoustic. I mean, I've grown up playing music, but like singing, I never really put all my effort into it. And by that I mean practicing every single day, like really working on my vocals. My brother's a pretty good example of someone who went from not knowing how to sing for shit to just being like an incredible singer. And I watched it happen. So it's like, I'm like, damn, I wish I did this earlier like he did, but he's just a different person than I am. I was just so dead focused on making songs and getting them out. But so I think that's another big thing for me is that just being able to play without having to worry about autotune or worried about my voice. Like I think that's a problem a lot of artists are dealing with these days is just it's so easy just to throw on autotune and it's not at the same time it's still hard to do that during a show. It's not fun to rely on that during a show, especially if like you're around a group of people and you're not even at a show. They're just like, hey, like here's a guitar, can you sing something? Like I want to be able to just pick up that guitar and sing and just go. Like that's my effort right now. So I
let
think
me
that's the
grab my
one piece
computer real
missing.
quick. I will be right back.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't want to be that guy. So that's a big thing for me, especially if I'm on a tour too. Like I want to be able to go out there and really put it down.
Yeah, no, and that is like another piece of the industry that people I don't think realize. Obviously, there's like crafting your sound, which is like a part of it, but then it's like being able to hit those notes and everything is also like a
Yeah.
piece of it too. But
Well,
that's
people
awesome.
see like the authenticity in it too. They really like see that you're an artist, not someone who's just digging around. And I think at the same time, like that's such like for me when I go see a show, like I went like speak for a person we just talked about, Anella. I just went and saw him perform, and like dude can sing, hands down can sing, and it makes it just such a better show because you just know it's just like he can stop a track and perform a cappella and it sounds great, or he can just hold a guitar, sing a song and it sounds great, and he's that person who's a good example of just like reasons why fans love to go to shows is because they want to see something like that.
Yeah, I remember when his song, Tennessee Love Song, like I first
Yeah,
found it online. I haven't gotten to see his show yet, but I'm going. He's opening up for Lil Wayne in Charlotte
I
in
saw
March,
that.
and I'm gonna go to that show.
Dude, that'd be lit.
And I was like,
I might have to
knock
go,
out Lil
man.
Wayne and Adele at the same show. I mean, that's kind of cool. I was like,
Dude,
this
that
is
sounds
interesting.
sick.
I was like, oh, Lil Wayne's going to Charlotte, and I was like, oh, Anella's opening. Oh, yeah, let's go, let's go.
It's a wild setup, but that's good for him, dude. I'm sure he's stoked.
Yeah, it'll be a good time getting to open up for Lil Wayne. This is like a childhood dream. I feel like for like our
Yeah,
age range, you're like Lil Wayne, yeah,
of course.
yeah. Who would have thought?
No freaking doubt.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share, like as far as to your fans or things that have kind of come and
Well,
gone, and
there's one question. I do want to know why Batman.
why Batman? Okay.
Yes.
So when I was in North Carolina, I was in school and I didn't know exactly like the full direction I wanted to take this. I knew that I wanted to build a platform or work on building a platform to support artists and like share their music. I didn't know interviews was going to be a part of it at the start, but I felt like if I wore a mask, it took out the like, oh, come look at my stuff piece of it. It was like, hey, like I don't really care if anybody knows like who I am as a person or like the piece of it that I have to do with it. I
Yeah.
just want you to like gravitate towards this music, and I thought it would like create more buy-in with artists and hopefully build that.
Okay, I
And
like that.
then I don't know, Batman's always been like interesting to me as just like a construct with like the villains and like how it's all tied together and how it's like a human that's just trying to like bring good to a city even though he's not really born with any special talents and I suck at stuff musically. It's like this is something I can like I don't, help's the wrong word, but I can like shine a light on like artists or people that I'm listening to that are independent and like growing and following their dreams and trying to do it in a way that like showcases them. It isn't so much like, hey, come like look at my page, I guess in a way. Oh, I think your audio went. Oh, no. I think no, you're good. I think it just the audio just went.
Oh,
I couldn't
okay.
hear you. Yeah.
Sorry, my brother was calling me.
Oh, you're good.
That's interesting. So, what's your favorite Batman movie?
My favorite Batman movie. I go. So I mean, Dark Knight is like the cop out answer, but I also like
It's not
am
a
not a
cop
big
out, bro.
fan of
It's
the
just a
last
great.
20
It's
minutes
great,
of Dark Knight.
dude. The trilogy is insane.
Yeah, the whole trilogy is insane. And I really thought that when they made the Batman, like the new one with Robert Pattinson, I was gonna hate it. Like I went in walking in like this is gonna be garbage. Like I don't want to see Twilight Batman. Like this is dumb.
Yeah,
And then I watched it and I was like, okay. I don't know if it's because I like went in with like bad expectations, but I was like, I kind
yeah,
of like this. Like the cinematography of it, the music behind it is so good.
yeah.
And I don't know. I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Dude, the sad thing is, I still haven't even. I've only seen the Chris Nolan ones. I have not even dove in. I
That's
need
okay.
to.
That's okay. Those are honestly those are the best. So you're
Dude,
not.
I'm like way too upset. I remember when I was in for a long time when I was in high school, I would just like carry around a Joker card in my wallet. I actually ended up becoming really good friends with some random person at a work event because we both had the Joker cards in our wallet. We're just like, what the hell, dude? But I respect the Batman stuff. I think that's really cool. I was this close. I was this close, man, to just ordering a full Joker outfit and just coming on here.
Coming on here with it.
Yeah, I was like,
For
dude, let me just shut up
Halloween,
as a Joker.
repeatedly, I've just gone as Batman, and my friends have gone as the Joker, and I think it's the funnest thing. And I'm like, well, I have the mask for the podcast, so I'm like ready
There
to
you
go.
go. Perfect.
Yeah, constant music. So, and your content is actually you were talking about making like better content, but I was thinking like when you said that, like, so I part of the like what I think I helped with the connection was I remember when you and your girlfriend put out the sushi video, and like I feel like the content like didn't necessarily have like the most polished feel to it, but it felt like personal content. So I feel like that was kind of like a cool piece
Yeah,
of it.
I know. I've been meaning to do some more stuff with her. It's been a minute since I've like dove into it. Sometimes it's just like the amount of effort that goes into a video. It can be a lot until like to not see it do anything. If it doesn't do something, you're like, damn. It kind of like crushes you a little bit.
Yeah. Or like
But at
I
the
mean like
same
the mask
time,
video. How much time do you think you spent making that mask video where she like walked in?
holy shit, man.
Yeah.
That took me like all day. That was
Yeah. People don't realize how long a video like that takes to put together.
Dude, it took less time to edit that video than it did to freaking film it. But I want to do more stuff like that. I trust me, I've like had ideas, and it's just been a minute since I pulled a trigger on it. We recently made a move too, so it was just like a whole switch up there. But I know I need to get some more like personal like stuff that's not just performance videos. But those also are great just for like to remind people that I'm an artist at the same time. That's one of the main reasons I did that. I was like, I just need people to know more that I'm an artist, not just like always trying to be a comedian.
Mhm.
But at the same time, those videos do so well, and they do help, and they help the songs out a lot. So it's just like you never know what's gonna work. So
Yeah, and that's like one of the hardest things with content. One of the best ideas I ever thought I had for sharing music. I remember I like woke up my friend at like it was like 4 in the morning. I had this like epiphany. I was like, I'm gonna go swiping on dating apps while like music plays in the background, and this is gonna go like crazy on social media. This is like such a genius idea. And I never did anything. And I like when I first thought of it, I was like, this is gonna be insane. This is like gonna change how people like promote their music and stuff.
the
Like, this
amount of
was so
times,
dumb.
bro, the amount of times I've been there. Oh my gosh, I get it. I know that feeling way too well.
You're like, I don't know why I thought this was a good idea.
Dude, and it's always going to be like the random shit that like you just half-ass that does the
Yeah, you're like,
most.
how did anybody like this? Like, I didn't even like this when I put this out. Why is this what you're drawing attention to?
Exactly. That's the frustrating part about it. That's why you just have to keep putting stuff out.
Just keep putting it out and see what happens.
Exactly. You shoot and see what sticks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your night, man. It was great to get to sit
Dude,
down with
thank
you. And
you.
yeah,
Of course, man. It's been a minute since I've been on a podcast, so it's nice to kind of
oh,
chat a
awesome.
little bit about the music and get to know somebody else who's
Yeah,
involved.
for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, you have a good one. Thanks so much.
All right, man.